I want to turn our attention to a conversation with Matt Simmons, founder of the Ocean Energy Institute, by my view the most accurate, although it's not something I'd like to acknowledge or advertise, because his accuracy has been in the category of Dr. Doom, if you will. His estimates gravely larger than anything we have heard going back to day one. Do you believe that the flow rate estimates, Matt, are now approaching some of your earlier speculation from a month and a half ago?
Yeah, Dylan, first of all, I just can't believe that I was so hoping when you first had me on your show, that I had somehow really over-exaggerated this, because it's just, if it's true, it's the worst thing we've ever had. But, you know, it took me, I turned on the Today Show on the 22nd of April at 7 a.m. in the morning here in Rockport, Maine, and I heard this tragic news about this great company that was one of my best clients, Transocean's, one of their finest rigs, engulfed in a fire that I've never seen anything like on the Gulf of Mexico waters, and being described as a rig fire. And I said to my wife, there isn't any chance this is a rig fire. We're seeing the biggest blow-up fire we've ever had. I bet the pressures are basically at least 40 to 50,000 psi. Now, I just listened to the only part of the hearings I've heard is when I came on and listened to the last. When Tony Hayward said that it's 11,000, that is exactly equivalent to his saying 1,000 barrels a day leak. The guy is basically delusional.
So you're saying even just in the moments before, because I was listening as well with interest as to what pressure he would quote, I just don't have the expertise that you do to know whether that's a lot or a little. You're saying that his pressure quotation in that oil well, and just to educate folks who are obviously, all of us are learning about the dynamics of undersea oil drilling, but oil that is contained 18,000 feet beneath the surface of the earth is under exquisite pressure.
Unless it's a dry hole.
Unless it's a dry hole, which is why it behaves as a volcano when you puncture it. Why is it relevant whether Tony Hayward is quoting 10 or 11,000 pounds pressure versus the 40,000 pounds that you would speculate based on the mathematics of a well of that size at that depth?
Why it's incredibly relevant for Tony Hayward's career and BP's survival is, if he were right, then it was something wrong with the BOP, because the BOP is rated to 15,000 psi and works. If it were 60,000 psi, it would be like basically putting a wad of gum in the exhaust of your car, and I think I used that on your show about 4 weeks ago, and it would have been blown out in a second, and that's what happened.
This speaks to the larger issue, Matt, which is, are we getting accurate information to the highest levels of our government? Because you and I both know, absent accurate, valid data in the President's office, at the Coast Guard headquarters, it will be impossible to appropriately respond. Are we even near an accurate understanding?
Not even near that, and the biggest cause for confusion is we're still allowing BP to open their mouths. In my opinion, and again, I said this weeks ago, it's time to tell BP to take a hike and get out of the way, and we'll basically come back and deal with them later. I'm so proud our government seized $20 billion of their assets. I'm not sure those assets are worth very much, but I think but the most important step is tell them that these guys are actually trying to do the biggest cover-up we've ever had any time. And the military can actually hire Transocean and Cameron Iron Works and Halliburton and Schlumberger, and those people will basically, they don't need, military doesn't need to understand this. They need to basically hire the people that understand it, because they know how to actually employ an army, and these are the troops.
So your suggestion would be to bring in other offshore exploration and drilling and rig operation companies, which you just named, and put them under the employment of the U.S. government to actually collect data and come up with a plan, because BP's incentive is to diminish the appearance of the problem, which actually makes our ability to respond to it incredibly weak.
And what BP is doing by still spinning data is creating an enormous amount of confusion as to who's in charge. I had as I was driving back up here for this interview from Daramuscata, Maine, went for lunch, I had a very long call with a supremely educated guy at the Army Corps of Engineers, who was basically said, the problem is there's nobody in charge. We have to have a coordinated general coordinating all this stuff. The Army knows how to do this. The Navy knows how to do this. The Coast Guard knows how to do this. But right now, we're still having BP be the general. Kick them out.